Will Alabama be able to handle the Tennessee environment?
It's a great question. And we know it's been long documented, right? Now, with the exception of the Arkansas game, Bama handled that environment really well, right? Passed that test with flying colors, lost their quarterback in the process. Very, very difficult game under the circumstances. But man, they look great with the exception of about a quarter in that game from the end of the second quarter to about the middle, 3/4 of the way through the third quarter. They looked pretty good, right? Yes, there was a period in which Arkansas looked unstoppable. But man, for the most part, Bama responded to that adversity and found a way to get it done on the road. Then it was the following week. And last week, I thought, is one that kind of leaves some scars, right? That was difficult for us to watch as college football fans because think about what Alabama's been. They don't often beat themselves, right? Like if you're going to beat Alabama, you're going to beat Alabama. Like you're going to have to play well. It's rare to see a scenario where Alabama turns the ball over 4 times. It's their most, by the way, since 2015 when they turned it over 4 times against Ole Miss. They had only 5 turnovers in the first 5 games. So keep that in mind. Alabama, this is familiar. However, not as familiar the last couple years. Alabama missed 2 field goals. That's their most since 2019. That was against Duke. They were 6 of 7 in the first 5 games of the year. They also had 2 unsportsmanlike conduct penalties. That's their most since playing against Oklahoma back in 2018. They had not been flagged for an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty yet this year prior to last week. So just an uncharacteristically sloppy game last week from Alabama. Now, insert the starting quarterback Bryce Young into the lineup, you're probably going to have a different result. Obviously, there was some frustration that was exercised, and there were some plays left on the field by Alabama for the most part. The scary thing is I thought Jalen Milroe had 2 interceptions dropped and could have been worse, perhaps, as far as turnovers were concerned. Will Bryce Young be available? That's a significant question mark. I think he will be based on my knowledge of the situation. I also look, too, at the running game. If Jahmyr Gibbs is out on the field, Alabama will still likely be able to run the football. He's been phenomenal the last few weeks. 154 rushing yards against Alabama or against A&M, has had 360 rushing yards in the past 2 games. So he is really hitting his stride, and he looks like he could become the bell cow back in the event in which Bryce Young is not sitting at 100%. And you think about the tempo that Tennessee utilizes too. It might be kind of helpful for Alabama to play a little more ball control. Maybe try to take the air out of the football a little bit and keep that Tennessee offense on the sidelines. So it'll be interesting to see just how Alabama runs the football. But if they have a sloppy performance like they had last week on the road, it's going to be very difficult to overcome those mistakes to get the victory. We know this Tennessee team's off the charts good. They're scoring on 62% of their offensive drives. It's the best rate in the FBS, and they've averaged nearly 550 yards per game. That's also the best in the FBS. So Bama's got their work cut out for them this week, but with Bryce Young likely coming back into the mix, I think they still have the recipe to be able to go on the road and get the job done in what should be an insanely hostile environment, but one that we should all be looking forward to as fans of college football.